Morning. It's just before 9. So as you can tell, you may just be able to see the water line. You've got about a centimetre in the bottom there. It's completely dry at the back, a little bit creeping through here, and if you can look at the covers, dry. We surprisingly had some rain today. We're not supposed to have rain all day today. It's supposed to get a little bit sunnier, but it's good news is we've got a nice dry boat and everything's kept pretty dry for that epoxy, so we can crack on now straight away and get on with everything. It's a little bit cold. I've got my gloves on at the moment. Still got my shorts on. Years of rugby will do that to you. First job, just going to get this sanded down and smooth and flush so we can start to put a little final coat of deck soil on the wood. It's a lot nicer shape now, no more bumps and ridges. Because we've got so much to do in and on the boat, I'm not going to do the epoxying now, I'm going to do the epoxying last. It's a slight risk because the temperature's due to drop about 3 degrees tonight, so the earlier the better, but I can't risk clambering in and out of the transom and I can't be bothered to just get the boat completely dry right now. So, you know, if we don't get that done, we don't get it done. It's only a few little bits, so if it goes wrong, we can easily go over it, and you know, they're not like structural anyway. So anyway, first things first, before we re-deck soil this, we're going to see if we can get these to stick. You can see that actually the curvature's not that bad, so the raised one's probably going to be fine. So let's just try and get that central, because if this goes to plan, we might even leave these on and just whack deck soil around it. There we go. So we'll stick those on and we'll just see how they fare. So I think next job we'll be getting this on. You can see there's a few drops of rain appearing now, but I think that's going to pass. Look at this. Look how the wood matches. That's amazing, isn't it? So I'm really glad we're putting the old pad back on, and we'll just see how she goes, you know. So here's the bolts. New stainless steel 316 hoops go at the top, and they're to help lock the engine. You can attach the engine to these hoops just in case, you know, capsize, you may lose the engine. These ones go at the bottom. And here's the original washers. You can see they're the ones, if you can see that, they're the ones that were on before. Now I bought these other washers. These are the same 316A4, and actually these ones I think are going to be better, slightly bigger, so you can just see they're a bit bigger, and I'm going to use those here and on the inside. And then on the inside we've got, well, there's the standard nylock bolts, and here are slightly deeper ones, and you can hardly tell the difference, but if I show you, you've got slightly more thread on these ones, so let's use those. So let me double check there then. So we need 4 of those. And the other reason for that is, you know, this isn't coming on and off every 5 minutes, so, you know, we need to, it doesn't matter, we don't need standard bolts, and those standard bolts I can use elsewhere. I did contemplate using these sort of locking nuts with the kind of lock washer built in, but I don't know whether that's going to damage the fiberglass, so I'm not going to use those. Someone mentioned, I sent some photos to the forum, and someone mentioned there may be a bit of water damage in here, but for me I think they're okay. Now I could put a little bit of butyl tape around here, so it might also help the screw stick, so I'm going to do that. And the good thing about butyl tape is it's really forgiving, you can't really use too much. If you do, it just squeezes out the sides, you know, and you just sort of snip it off with a knife very carefully. And then, oh, number 4's escaped. There we go. That'll give it something. My only issue with this is just, I don't want it to leave a gap, so I'm hoping I haven't put too much on there. We won't need too much pressure. Right. Crikey. This board is a little bit big for there. There we go. Right, we just need to line these lower ones and give them a little bit of help. This is not quite lining up, that bottom bolt, weirdly. Let's take it out. Have a little look. Why is that doing that? Yeah, so I unscrewed the screw here, and the wedge had a little bit of play, so I just moved the wedge over a little bit, and it straightened that. It straightened that up quite nicely. I didn't show you what I did because I got it on, and I don't want to take it off again because it's kind of nicely fitted now. I was going to get the bilge pump in today, but I don't think I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to check it, and then I am going to just do one coat of epoxy underneath here whilst I'm down there. So I can't fit it today, unfortunately, but it's not very difficult to fit once it's, you know, once it's in. But what it does mean, I'm going to have to cut these holes out. These are M6 bolts, so I'm going to do a 6mm drill piece, drill through these holes. So those bits are for wood, and they didn't seem to work very well. So I've got these bits, which I think are also for wood, but these are generally quite good. So I'm going to give this a go. One hole done. Oh, that was so noisy. Oh. So these things, look, I've just explained, go in here, and these are designed to just block up these little drain holes. Now, in this boat, the bilges go into here, so, you know, that gives it a little bit of extra capability of taking on water. However, there are times where you don't want that to happen. You want to keep this as dry as possible. Emptying the bilge is one reason, and that's what these are for. Now, they're a little bit small, so let's have a look. Yeah, they need to start at where they ended. So I'm going to redo them. Don't take 5 minutes to make these, don't. and then we'll have some little bungs in there that we can stop water getting into the back. So before we get the mast up, I'm just attending to the masthead here, and I'm going to use this Monel seizing wire. So what Monel seizing wire does is stops your shackles from coming undone. Now when things go like this, and this is especially true on a mooring, you can see, watch, look at the shackle coming undone like that when these things swing. And I have noticed that when I took this front shackle off, both these shackles were a little bit loose. So if they fail, obviously you would lose the forestay and the whole front sail in this instance. But the other bad thing is if you lose that pin, you may never be able to, you might not be able to replace it. So this goes here like this. There we go. And then the Monel seizing wire is quite easy to use. You just literally make sure your shackle is tight, and then you put it through the shackle around, or the shackle eye there, and that's exactly what these little eyes are for here. You push it through there. I'm just going to give that a little bend so it'll help it go through around the shackle like this. Oh, my fingers are so cold. And then what some people do is they put a turn around here like that, and then literally then twist it around here, and then I'm going to cut that now, and then all you do is twist that round. Whoa, let's put the camera over there. So you just twist this round now. It's nice and tight, and then that can no longer come undone. Now I haven't done that one brilliantly, it's the first one I've ever done, so I'm just going to twist it a little bit more because I think that will tighten it. There we go. And then just make sure it's twisted all the way, and then I just snip that off so it's not going to rub on anything. There you go. And then you could even just make that nice there, and that's one done. 3 to go. Got the little gasket for the centreboard box, and that's going to go like that, fitted like this and across here. Now the reason I've got it the whole length is because if I cut it off here where the centreboard bit stops, I'm figuring the wooden top might not be quite level, so I'm going to do it like this, and then all I'm going to do is mark off where the holes are for the screws, so I can do little holes for the screws. These holes need redoing, really. And then what we'll do, we'll just have to cut this slit, because that will go down here, and maybe we'll have to stick that down somehow there. But that's the general idea, and then we'll just cut a slit along here, so this will run along it. We'll see if it works. It's starting to feel cold, to be honest with you. Might have to call it a day soon. But anyway, I'm at the front of the boat, the bow of the boat, and I don't know if you remember from my last little video, I was going to do a bowsprit like this with a cross member there. This would be maybe go through it, and then we'll Well, the idea was we could use these fair leads here and here, like that. I mean, all we need to do is brace that to go back up and brace it to come backwards. Now, here, the pole will be big enough so we can cut a notch in here. So not only maybe could we, well, that would stop it going forward and aft. The reason we're having a bowsprit is when we fly the spinnaker asymmetrically, we just want to, I just need to bring it away from the jib, you know, the furled up jib a little bit, otherwise it's going to, if it's connected here where the jib is connected, it's just going to rub on the jib all day long, and that's not what I want. So there's two ways of stopping that. You can either raise the spinnaker up, which is what normally you would do. Now I could put an eye and a pulley on the gaff so it's higher up, and we may do that if we find the spinnaker's flying a bit too low for the boat. But another way of doing it asymmetrically, by the way, that would help asymmetrically and it would help symmetrically. The problem with doing that, and why I've not done it yet, is that it would just complicate bringing the gaff down. You know, if we need a halyard for the spinnaker and it's on the gaff, when we bring the halyard down, we're going to have to worry about that sort of halyard. Might be a problem, might not be, I don't know at this point. If we did it aft of the fairleads like this, look at the spinnaker, look at the bowsprit. If we do it here, I think it's a bit low. If we do it here, it's at the perfect size, perfect height. So what we can do is, and I've got them over here, you can get these with a 12mm hole. In fact, that doesn't look far off. And what we'll do, we'll just put those there, and we could even, so we can put these here, and we could even angle them so they're straight, which would work. I think we could get away with that. If not, we could bend the pole maybe a little, I don't know. But then what we would do is we would put the pole in like this, slot it in this way, push it forward, slot it in that way, push it back, and then having it slotted in the bow here would stop it moving, I'm hoping. So, you know, that's one idea. But I think securing a beam across here is going to be pretty easy, however we do it. If we have the bowsprit suddenly stopping here and not even coming across there, then suddenly this cleat is free, and suddenly we don't have a need for our anchor chocks, which I thought when I made them originally they were an amazingly brilliant idea, and they're still a kind of good idea, but I've got a funny feeling we could put this anchor somewhere else. So let's have a look. So there's a new position for the anchor. So this is actually looks a bit higher than this side for some reason. We have a block of wood here, epoxied in, a block there, epoxied. We then need some sort of shape for that to be, you know, we could actually 3D print something that's based on the old anchor chock, you know, that will lock those in. So that would go wrong way round. Let's get the other one. So that, you know, that kind of thing would need to go on there like that. So you could pull it back, and then when you pull it back, you'd pull it back with this, and this would be secured either under here with a clip or somehow, and you'd pull the anchor back. The only thing we've got to do then is drill a hole somewhere in here, so we can maybe do a clevis pin into there to keep this anchor from, otherwise this anchor's gonna hit. So I think that's the idea we're gonna go with. Yeah, okay, that's one of the ideas that I thought was gonna be amazing, but turns out we're not gonna use it. Now, contrary to belief, this is zinc galvanized, so it's sacrificial. It's not gonna rust underneath, and it works exactly the same as like a sacrificial piece of zinc on a boat, you know. So yeah, there's no need to worry about it. So we're going to just make that nice and flat and make a mark there. That went through quite easily. Now I haven't got the clever spin with me, but that'll be brilliant like that. All we've got to do is build the new chocks. So this little piece of leather is for the masthead, and I want to protect the masthead here, so we're going to mark off where this needs to go, and then I think that's best going that way round. Yeah, that's not enough, so it has to go this way round, and we're going to stick it on exactly the same way as we did the Bumpkin. Yeah, so I've just gone and asked, and a few of the guys that are up at the yard there have said that it's going to be touch and go with the epoxy. It's probably better to not do that. So I've not brought my hoover. That is really the next job I've got to do, is to get all the bits out of this boat. So I'm going to bring my bucket, I'm going to go home, I'm going to come back with my bucket and the hoover. I've also not brought my scrubbing brushes so I can scrub the boat. I think what we'll do, we'll give them a good clean, give the boat a really good clean, and then it might warm up, who knows, but then I think what we can do is redo the wood, get some deck soil back on the wood, and you know, we can start to also fit things back in, like the bilge pump. We'll clip that in, see if those clips work, and I think that's what we've got to do. So I'm going to leave the boat as is, we're going to whiz home and we're going to get all that stuff, and we'll be back in a bit. Right, I've got my camper van cable, which is this one, and we're going to go plug it in. So meter 2 is the one we want. That must be over there. Let's go and plug in. I thought I'd done the worst job in the world earlier, but that was the worst job in the world. But she's looking nice now. She's never going to come up brand new, pure, pristine. But all we needed, there we go. All we needed was to get all the grime off, and actually she looks so much cleaner. Look what she used to look like under the cleats. But she looks so much cleaner. And you know, she is clean, and we're going to be able to paint now on the bottom here. So what we'll do, she's too wet to paint, she's too wet to epoxy. I didn't realise halfway through, I realised that my blocks were going to be wet now, so can't epoxy, can't do any painting. All we can do is go home. The tide today was only 0.9 metres, neap tide today, and that's why the river's largely been looking like that all day. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. We're going to probably have to come down and do one more day before we go. But otherwise, that's it for today. The plan is that next week we were going down to Bala, but the weather might say otherwise, because it's like 1 degree next Thursday, and I don't know about you, but I don't really fancy it when it's 1 degree. I've had enough of this cold weather. We shall see. We shall play it by ear. We've got loads of little bits and bobs to do. So, yeah, we'll see. I think I'm going to have to come down a few days next week if I can get away. But again, the weather's turning a little bit colder as well. So we'll have to see. We'll have to play it by ear. Thanks for watching. Leave me to do this little bit of deck soiling, and then I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.